Reno Cervone, proprietor chef at Heritage. Mayo was eating like antelope tartare at some Tampa restaurant. Have you ever dabbled in any like one of these Anthony Bourdain type of things? Have you ever done any kind of Bourdain type of dishes at any of your restaurants? So where you had something that nobody would ever in their right mind order unless they were on some kind of hallucinogenic drug.
Listen,
they don't tip well.
People, right? You get the people that are hallucinating and just like losing their minds, or you're going to get these very sophisticated people that claim themselves as foodies, and I automatically want to throw them the fuck out. Listen, public service announcement. Stop saying you're a foodie. That just means you're an asshole. That's all that means. That's all that means.
Substitute asshole.
No, you're not. You're just really fucking opinionated. Eat and shut the fuck up and enjoy. Did you like it or not? Fuck.
That's sweet.
With you 1,000%. Yeah. Mayo used to be insufferable like that. And then he started admitting that he ate a Guy chili as a matter of choice. Reno, we love you, man. All right, see what you can do on the ticks. We won't press it any further. I mean, if you give us a call out of the blue.
I'll try my best to get there even myself, so I'll let you know.
All right, my friend. Always a pleasure. Guys. We'll have to get in there and see you soon.
Cheers. Let's go, baby. Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right, Reno Cervone, proprietor chef at Heritage.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
It brings up an interesting ethical question, what we're facing here tonight, Mike Louie Lubitz. Welcome to the show. Good to have you guys with us. I got a little bit of a late start. We were doing our morning briefing, got carried away. There were so many things happening over the weekend. You can catch that on Caffeine TV. All you have to do, I did it again over the weekend several times, Louie. I saw a lot of people I hadn't seen for a while. They're always asking, hey, you still in broadcasting? What are you doing these days? You still on the radio? I'm trying to find you.
Yeah.
And I say, yeah, I've been doing this video streaming for a while. We have a couple of different platforms that we're on. And they say, well, how can I get it? And I say, Google Caffeine TV morning briefing. That's all you have to do. You can say it. You can write it. Well, whatever you do. You get on the Google bar. You go Caffeine TV, as in drinking coffee. Right here. I got my cup right here. Pretty much finished that thing off. I got up real early this morning. And morning briefing. That's it. Caffeine TV, morning briefing. You see the other stuff that we do. It's all over the place. I mean, we've done almost, we're zeroing in on a year's worth of shows on that particular platform. And it's going pretty well. Seems to get decent feedback. The people there like us. We got a little sponsorship working now, although the numerology isn't working out like it should. But anyway, I have no complaints about that because I feel good about it, and it would be like a great future. So we got started a little bit late on the program today, but we were talking about, and I was looking at Craig Minervini was offering some tickets that he got, obviously, probably, I would think, at face value, no, from the team. He just wants his money back that he spent. He bought whatever, I guess. Panther employees get a chance. I think he's going.
Will it be working? Because I mean, if they're home games, he definitely works the home games. So
yeah, well, I don't know what they do. I mean, do they do some kind of streaming?
They're not live.
Because they don't carry the finals, the local channels. So I would imagine Minervini is free to just go there and watch the game, unless he's part of. There may be some streaming thing. I know Steve Goldstein was doing something, a YouTube show or whatever, maybe with Randy Moeller. But and Craig may be involved in that. But even if he is, I would imagine he's going to be sitting in his seats there for the game. And apparently he bought a couple of extra tickets that the people that were going to go ahead and attend the game with him can't make it. So he wants to sell the tickets for what he paid for them. Which and I do believe that he had to buy them. Maybe they got the opportunity to buy them. I mean, which isn't a bad thing. So, how do you feel about this, Louis? We buy the tickets, hoping that we have an edge as being among his favorite people. And I'm sure people are. What do you think? What does a lower ball ticket go for face value for these games? 300-400.
Probably more than that. No, lower bowl.
More than that, yeah. Really, I can't imagine.
That insane. I don't think it's like the Rangers series, but I think they are like 700 to 900. I mean,
that high, really? Okay.
Lower bowl. I mean.
So now, do you make this move though? I mean, the guy offers you the tickets at face value, which you're not going to be able to find now. This is Game 2, Stanley Cup Final.
No.
There's a possibility if you go to this game that it may be the last home game of the season. And that the Panthers come home with the cup after sweeping the Edmonton Oilers in 4 games. They're the only team in a position to do that. You would have to think that somewhere along the line, after watching game number 1, that the Oilers at least win a game of the next 3. I would probably take that as a relatively safe bet, although you never know.
Right.
So, the big game would then be probably Game 5, where the Panthers might have a chance to win the cup at home, which would be great if that took place. But and would knock all of those people that had Panthers in 6 out of the works, because the entire universe has the Panthers in 6. If you polled 100 people and asked them about the series, 99 have the Panthers in 6. Nobody has the Oilers, and I guess that one remaining holdout probably has the Panthers in less than 6, because they just were playing that type of hockey, although they were badly outplayed, I thought, in game number 1, in winning 3-0, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Because they were getting dominated for the most part. The so-called high scoring chances, dangerous scoring chances, were heavily in favor of the Edmonton Oilers. It seemed like the puck was floating around in front of the Panthers' net, right there in the blue for long periods of time, and they just couldn't quite get a stick on it. When they did, Bobrovsky was up to the task. Had a couple of breakaways and all kinds of different things. Bobrovsky was just brilliant in this game.
He was fantastic.
And other than that, the Panthers were badly outmatched in that particular effort. Seemed a little bit lethargic by comparison to their usual energy level. And the forechecking was there, but they were even making mistakes that led to huge scoring chances for the Edmonton Oilers. So we don't know what's going to happen. But do you go ahead and buy the ticket? Let's say Minervini was willing to sell us the tickets for face value. Would it be out of line? And how morally bereft would we be, ethically compromised would we be, if we then turned around and scalped the tickets outside the arena to try and make some money, and then just left, park across at the Sawgrass, hope you don't get towed because you're not even going to be staying for the game, walk around, and what if Craig sees you, and then, of course, if he is taking his seat, then he sees other people sitting there, how would he feel about it? And then, do you offer him a cut of what you made on the tickets?
No, he sells you the tickets. So look,
he sells you the tickets, and you sell them to somebody else for double face value. Does that make you an asshole? That's the question.
Sometimes, because again, you just said it, he has to sit next to these people.
Yeah.
So that might be the reason why he's willing to sell them to you because again, he doesn't have to sell them at face value. So,
and he can't go out and scalp them, right?
If
Minervini's standing outside the Marant Bank Center, going, got two. Does it not look bad for him and the people at Valley Sports Florida?
I know you did that.
Then I didn't care, though. I had no moral, character at that time.
It depends. Look, he has to sit next to these people. So if he's doing it as though I want to, the two people I'm going with can't go, I still want to be next to people as though I invited you to a game. But like, who just gives you tickets when they're that much? So you just pay for your tickets. We'll all go to the game.
Yeah.
Then yes, that's a douche move. If he literally says, look, I'll get it to you at face value, but I'm expecting to sit next to you, and then you sell them.
I would imagine that is an assumption that if he's going to sell you the tickets at his cost, that you are going to the game.
See, I don't do assumptions. Look, say it to me or you don't. I'm not going to figure out mathematically. My wife tells me how she feels. So if I don't have to figure out mathematically what my wife's thinking, then I'm not going to do what if you tell me, then I go do it, then I'm breaking the deal we made, and that's a push move.
You can't resell.
If he does not do that, if he says, here, this is what I want for the tickets, and you buy them, they're your tickets. You can do whatever the fuck you want with them.
Yeah.
So to me, it's all in how they're sold to you.
But he's sort of saying, hey, look, I'm going to sell them to somebody who really wants to go. I would imagine there'll be more than run a request to buy these tickets at face value at this point. People, didn't anticipate necessarily this thing getting to this stage. And like we said, it's very possible that this is the final home game of the season in a year where the Panthers win the Stanley Cup. If they win this one and then go on the road, take 2 from Edmonton, it's entirely possible. So a huge game in South Florida sports history, no doubt about it. I mean, this is a pivotal game in South Florida sports history. But, you would feel like an asshole, right? If Minervini then – how soon after the other people sat down would Minervini be on the phone to call you an asshole, if that's what you did?
I don't.
Wouldn't he not be perfectly within the boundaries of good taste by suggesting that you were a bigger jerk than one of our favorites, of course, speaking about number 45. But anyway, so that's happening tonight here in South Florida, and the Panthers, of course, won that game one. Lubie, who and Mayo will not let things go. Huh? There's something wrong with this guy. You sent him a text, what, in like early April?
That was late May, the thing again, remember, the Panthers, people forget the Panthers did get down to the Rangers 2-1 in the series, that they were outplaying them. And the goals they were giving up were stupid fucking goals.
Yes.
Because Bobrovsky does this thing where he like ducks. And even the goalies that allow goals up top, they don't duck away from it. Like he does this thing where he ducks away and tries to catch it with his gloves, with his eyes closed. And dude, you've been stopping fucking everything. What the fuck was that? So that's when I did it was, I guess, May 28th. And if you do the math, I think the Panthers were down 2-1. Or it was 2-2 or something like that in the series. And I was frustrated at Bobrovsky had played well. Bobrovsky's played well the whole playoffs, but he would give up a weird, stupid-ass goal from time to time. And we're watching Shesterkin get fucking barraged and not give up shit. So I got frustrated and I lamented.
Yeah.
They're not going to win a Stanley Cup with Bobrovsky.
With this guy, with this clown, basically, is what you said, yeah.
But he hasn't played like that. Like, even the goals at the end of the series he gave up were legit goals that there's only so much a goalie can do. Like we saw Shesterkin eventually did give up goals. If you're getting hit from every angle, at some point you'll give up a goal.
Eventually the pressure wears you down. No doubt about it. It's like getting hit to the body for 10 rounds.
Until game one, because
in a boxing match.
He finally got barraged. Because that's a good thing about the Panthers defense is they don't really let teams get at him like that until game one, when the Oilers.
There were a lot of dangerous circumstances there. That could have been a 5-goal game for Edmonton, no doubt.
Whatever he wanted, they did whatever they wanted. And Bobrovsky was the one where he literally does like some fucking wash shit and jumps at and from his back catches it with the fucking back.
How about when he got knocked down by the shot that hit him in the face? That was great. He blocked a couple of punches with his face, as Bert Sugar used to say. It was spectacular, and without Bobrovsky, they lose that game 5-2. There's no doubt.
Yes.
And a good showing by Edmonton. I didn't think Edmonton was going to be able to withstand this Eastern forechecking style that we're seeing from the Florida Panthers in the series. But that's what's great about it. Sometimes in sports, you get outplayed badly, you still end up with the win, and you're thinking, well, geez, we can't do much worse than we did in game number one. We still won it. And so bodes very favorably for the Florida Panthers and our prediction of Panthers in 6 or less.
Well, and that's the thing, like
in this series,
where I was with the Rangers, and eventually came to be true, where it's like the Panthers were dominating, and it's like at some point you're going to break through. So if you're the Oilers, you're thinking we're dominating, at some point it's going to break through. But the thing is, to me, I didn't think the Rangers had that next level. The Panthers do. Like the Panthers, if you've watched them, they know what they were fucking slack. Like their defensive efforts were weird. Look, they weren't allowing rebounds. They were really good at getting the puck out of there after those good opportunities, and that is why Bobrovsky was able to do what he did. He's really good at handling the one-shot sequences. When you start barraging him, any goalie, they're eventually going to give it up. And their defense, even in being outshot by like 16, they weren't allowing a lot of second chances. But the first chance they were allowing were ridiculous, and they know it. And that's it. What's funny is the coach for the Oilers looks defeated because it's like we outshot them. We played probably as good a game as we're going to be allowed to play versus this team, and we got shut out. Like, and they won 3-0. Yeah. And the Panthers they weren't disappointed, but they were frustrated. They won 3-0. And they were like, yeah, that we won, but I don't know what the fuck that was. Like,
Kachuk it was pretty crazy that Edmonton couldn't crack through. And I'm with you. I mean, when the shot goes high, Bobrovsky looks like Dick Stewart in there, Dr. Strangeglove. You're not sure if he's going to catch it or not. I mean, and he does seem to flinch out of the way. I mean, you very adeptly described what happens when those shots go in over the shoulders, either side of Sergei Bobrovsky. But he was great. I kind of wish I had taken him at 4-1 to win the most valuable player of the Stanley Cup Finals, because you're thinking if the Panthers win, there are probably going to be an assortment of guys that you could give the MVP to, but in all likelihood, it's going to revert back to the quarterback or whatever, like it does in the Super Bowl, and come back to the goaltender, unless somebody just goes off and has an inordinate number of goals. It's just so great out there on the ice that they set themselves apart. Otherwise, it's going to the goalie at 4-1 if the Panthers win the series, and that was not a bad play. All right, NBA action last night. We continue to be just human and bombing fluid.
I thought Irving would wake up.
My God.
Jaylen Brown's defense must be the fucking greatest. He must be literally the glove, because Kyrie Irving is night and day from what he's been the entire fucking playoffs.
Well, he wasn't terrible last night in the portions of the game that I watched. I couldn't watch it all because I'm struggling to just accept that the Celtics are going to end up winning the championship. And I would have taken, we did recommend on Friday, you take the 7 and a hook with the Dallas Mavericks in game 2. Thought that was interesting that they get blown out in game one, and they were getting 6.5 in that one. The line went to 7.5 or opened up that way. I think it went off at 7 points, which is kind of interesting because it makes you wonder if Jason Kidd didn't have action on this game. Well, they allowed the final. There were like 25 seconds to go, down 7. They had gotten within 7, 25 seconds to go. Now, in all likelihood, with 25 seconds to go, losing by 7 points, you are not going to come back and overcome that deficit. But we've seen it happen. We've seen stranger things happen. The Celtics had only missed one free throw. I think they only missed one free throw in the entire game, Lubie. I think that's how it ended up. They were something like 19 out of 20 or something in that range. I know at one point they were 17 out of 18. And the missed free throw differential alone was enough to account for the final margin. So it wasn't like Dallas was badly outmanned in this game, even though, as you say, Kyrie Irving wasn't that good, and your man Washington didn't do anything
He's fine.
so special. He was all right.
He's not the guy that is a third player on a championship team.
And then you have a fourth guy from the Celtics, Drew Holiday, probably be the fourth consideration, third or fourth, and he goes off for 26 points and 11 rebounds, and was spectacular in the game. Was always in the right spot, right place, right time for virtually everything. And it was pretty much a catalyst in anything good that happened for the Celtics in game number 2. But 7 points, and I mean, imagine this: you're getting, if you were getting the 7 and a hook, what's the last thing you want to see? You don't want to see anybody get fouled, go to the stripe there when you have a 7-point margin, and they start sending Celtics to the free throw line. They're going to open up and cover the spread with relative ease. Because all it would take is one made free throw and then a miss down at the other end by the Dallas Mavericks, and maybe then they throw in the towel, right? But with 25 seconds to go, unless Jason Kidd had money on the money line at 7 and a hook, or on the was taking the points, not the money line, but taking the points, don't you think he would have had somebody foul with about 25 seconds to go, Lubie? Would that not have been the move to, as you said earlier, extend the game? As if you were getting a big, giant hard on, just extend the game so that you have even the most remote chance of maybe coming back and tying it up. Maybe you get down 9, but you hit 3 straight threes. I don't know. But
no, I mean,
did
look,
that not strike you as being odd that they threw
weird.
the towel in? Flowers were in the punch with 25 seconds to go.
It's weird because, especially since if you could foul Jaylen Brown, he's not great at the free throw line. So you're not guaranteed anything. And we've seen Luka and Kyrie make threes. So
yes,
usually you don't give up. You keep stretching it. But again,
not with that much time left. Yeah.
Look, again, look what the Heat did in the finals game. They were down 5. That's why I left, and a lot of the arena left. They were down 5, and Ginobili was going to the line. Mathematically, the game should have been over. Well, the Heat won that championship. Like, you never know, and that's the mentality as a coach you're supposed to have. So I don't know what the fuck was going through his head. Again, coach,
he had the points. He had to.
Hamilton is a coach that for a team I root for, and in an Elite 8 game, did something very similar where he wasn't fouling and wasn't using timeouts and was asked about it after the game and didn't have an answer for it. So coaches all the time do weird shit that I couldn't tell you. Maybe as he's played long enough to realize we're not winning this fucking game. I don't want to give them anything else to go off of in the next game. We hung around better in this.
The Celtics were dying to get fouled. I mean, they couldn't believe it. They were playing Salugi there at the end of the game. And Dallas was just, no, we're not going to foul you. There's no way you're going to the stripe. The rest, all of them are ready to blow a whistle at any time. And they send the Celtics to the line. And you would have thought, all right, at least you take a shot there with 25 seconds to go that the guy misses both free throws. And you come down here to 3, all of a sudden you got a 4-point game with maybe 15 seconds to go. Still almost insurmountable, but not completely impossible. So that was one of the weird things. I think somewhere down the road we're going to find in an Ohtani-like investigation that Jason Kidd had bought a half a point at game time and had 7.5. That's the only reason to play that strategy. All right, we're going to come back in just a moment. A lot more to talk about here on the show. How stupid is it? I mean, literally, this to me is one of the dumbest moves. If you left Tiger Woods off the Ryder Cup team, would that have been a smart move for anybody that's involved in the game of golf while he was in his prime? Even if you leave him off now, people are upset. Much less when he was in his prime. So how do you leave Caitlin Clark, the face, clear-cut face of women's basketball at this point in time, right now? If you said, who is the face of women's basketball at any level, what would be your immediate reaction?
I hate that because supposedly this Angel Wilson's fucking nuts. So
There may be better players. I'm sure there are more accomplished players at this point.
But yes, she's the one. Literally, they were out going to a game the other day, and they usually play in an arena that has 4,000 people.
Yes, sold out.
A arena that had 19,000, and they sold out in 30 minutes. Like,
this is it. I mean, you found gold. You're sitting there at some stream in the middle of South Dakota, and all of a sudden, whoa! Look at this. One of these little speckles. Oh my God! And you find like bars of gold bullion and whatever. I mean, whatever bars of gold bullion. No, that would be melted.
There are bars of gold, but or gold bullion.
But I mean, literally, you were struck gold with this woman. I don't care what people. There's no reason not to like her. I don't know. I guess she does a little trash talking here and there, so people are saying she deserves this ridiculous bodily harm type of treatment that she's getting from Kennedy Carter and some of the other women in the WNBA.
She's getting
Did you see this thing the other night where a woman in the WNBA is at the free throw line? She shoots the first free throw, misses it, and she's so concerned about Caitlin Clark that even though she has another shot coming, she runs over to guard Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, that's funny.
Right? And then they tell her, no, you got another free throw coming. Don't worry about it. Better later. They're obsessed with this woman.
Yeah.
But it's fine with me. I mean, look, it's the one story that has brought attention to the sport in a favorable light, whether you like her or not. It's almost a shame. Is Vince McMahon running the WNBA, and they want to turn Caitlin Clark into a sympathetic figure by having people just beat the shit out of her, where it's totally unjustifiable. It's like somebody strangling a rock in the corner while the ref is looking the other way. What is this? But how do you leave her off the Olympic team? I suppose it would be tough to put it to maybe a more accomplished professional player, Lubie. I know a lot of the women that are on the Olympic team have represented the U.S. before. But is this not the one? How does the Olympic Committee even allow this to go on? Where you're going to take the most marquee and marketable player in the game right now, and I don't know that there's any argument against that, and not even have her travel to France. I mean, can she even go to the games? I don't know. Has she been banned from that? It does seem odd, doesn't it, Lubie? Do you not think that this reeks of stupidity, or you're actually finding ways to justify it?
I don't understand leaving her. Look, I don't think she's a top 15 player in the league yet. I mean, I don't know the league that well, but I know there's a lot of talent throughout the league. The
most recognizable player in the game, though, right now, without any doubt, is Caitlin Clark.
We've seen them put names on a roster, especially with young team. Like Bam Adebayo is a borderline top 15 player in the league, but he's going to be on the roster, right? Because he's one of the better players. He brings something to the team that you'll need defense, and when a lot of guys don't play defense, and the Euros play very fundamental, so you do need have a guy like that. And again, a lot of times they'll throw a young person onto the roster to get them experience. They will never play. They'll barely play. But again, the women annihilate the competition. So in a blowout, you let them get some run because they're the future of the sport.
Just having her there as an ambassador for the game. I mean, it's like telling Tommy Lasorda not to talk about baseball, please.
When it was like Magic, when he went with the Dream Team, he wasn't one of the better players in the league anymore. He had left the game and come back. But again, you were going around the world and drawing attention from around the world who, when it comes to this sport, do people know more? Look, you can do whatever you want players-wise, but the WNBA, the Olympic organization, needs to worry about asses and seats and publicity and attention, especially while you can. It was like when baseball was bitching about Yasiel Puig. It's like, dude, Yasiel Puig is bringing eyeballs to the sport that haven't paid attention to the sport in a fucking decade.
Exactly.
Why? Like,
games on the threshold, the border, the precipice of extinction before this woman comes along.
Like sometimes you just gotta bite the fucking bullet of old school bullshit and go, you know what? There's a reason people are watching. The only time we've ever talked to the NBA was years ago. And we had the guy that like, what is it? What's the Martin Luther King? What is a day where they play like 40 WNBA games?
Oh yeah, when it's called Black Tuesday. Right?
And we had the dude that
Black
would
Wednesday
call in and do like this and this again is like 14 years ago. Would call in like 2010 and have like a WNBA fucking parlay, and we would laugh about how you're a fucking degenerate.
Yeah. Crazy people.
Parlay. That's the only time we've ever talked WNBA in 14 years until now. Like, you can do whatever you want with Caitlin Clark, but from a publicity standpoint, you put her on the roster. I mean, she doesn't have to play ever. I don't give a shit, but she's got to be there. Like, it's stupid to not have her in the suit, the sweats, and dribbling and doing the layup line.
Just have her there so people can take pictures, whatever. It doesn't matter. Even if she was, working on a bum knee or something. Here's a full page of WNBA coverage in today's New York Post sports section. You think that was happening before? This would be in the Agatype, the Liberty versus the Mystics, who haven't won a game all year. And then there's an article about the Liberty coach, whose last name is Brondello, saying that it was no big deal they left Clark off the team. And I'm saying, you got to be fucking kidding me, man. How does that happen in today's modern sports market, where you have the face of the game, literally? There's no doubt about it. Just like Jerry West was on the logo for the NBA for all those years, and you would have to say Michael Jordan was the face of the game. This Caitlin Clark right now, whether you like it or not, is the face of the game. And there's many reasons to like it if you were a women's basketball fan or you were any kind of advocate for the game itself. So you have her on an international platform. I mean, what is the point of all of this, right? Everybody wants to market globally. Why would you take your biggest star, face of the game, the one person anybody is paying any attention to in the WNBA? I mean, did you know much about Kelsey Plum?
No.
Before Caitlin Clark started threatening her records in college?
I didn't know that record existed.
Right. I mean, there's a woman that's been lightening up in the WNBA for several years now. And, it's great playing with one of the marquee teams. So aren't they the defending champions, Las Vegas? Didn't they win it like a couple of times in a row?
She's like is Angel Wilson? Is that the team Angel Wilson's on?
Might be. I don't know. And that's the thing. I mean, you actually have people like us talking about shit that goes on in the WNBA for a change. And you would leave this woman off the international stage when all anybody wants to do. Why are the Mets playing in London? Well, why are you watching games taking place in the NFL in Buenos Aires, for God's sake?
Exactly.
Because they want to get this international attention, and you have the one riveting factor in the game, and you're going to leave her out of the spotlight? You have to be out of your fucking mind.
I'm curious if this is the final.
But I don't care if it's justified. It's a one time you could say, hey, look, a deserving player lost her spot to Caitlin Clark, but it's not like she's undeserving for what she's done for the game. Correct? I mean, look, she's a rookie in the WNBA. That's fine. But what she did as a collegian would be enough to justify her presence on the Olympic team.
And that's why the Leitner was, because Shaq was good in college, and Shaq was obviously the better player and was going to go on and ended up going on to a much better career. But at the time, Leitner was the one that was, he's still arguably a top 4 or 5 college player ever.
Yeah.
He's the one that was well known coast to coast and probably internationally a lot more than Shaq. So that's why, even though it made no sense.
But didn't they always have, for some reason, a college player on the Olympic team? One college player. 1 or 2 young guys that are coming up. Look, I think Anthony Edwards is on this team. I think there's 4 or 5. I think SGA. Now, SGA is already a legit star, but heading into all of this, he probably wasn't. They always do that. The men's always have. She would be the focal point of the game. So just like when you have some standout female skater when skating was more popular and televised more frequently on Wide World of Sports. I mean, are you going to leave Peggy Fleming off the team? No. No way, right? I mean, are you going to tell Michelle Kwan, hey, no, you're not going because you know what? We got some grizzled veterans here. Get the fuck out of here. That really struck me as one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my life.
This is dumb.
Unbelievable, yeah.
The players can be we're gonna show her. That's fine. I don't care because what the hell's
show her what? I mean, you're showing yourself that you're just an asshole for thinking this way. No,
the girl from LSU just got shoved the other day. The one that her and Caitlin Clark had a thing.
Oh, Angel Reese.
Angel Reese got shoved like a motherfucker the other day. So it's not that's just the sport. It's a lot more physical than we realize. Fine. Okay. I don't care about any of that.
Beat the shit out of each other.
Players do whatever they want. I don't care. But the organization itself has to think it's a business. That's what it is. You're supposed to think of it as a business. That's a horrible business decision.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense from a business standpoint.
It'd be like Spain leaving Rafael Nadal off of their.
He's old. He's not the same guy. Who gives a shit?
He's fucking Rafa.
He's the guy that everyone wants to see, even if it's only one set. It might be his last.
Yeah, who cares? I mean, he got knocked down in the opening round of the French by Zverev. I mean, it was certainly a very, very difficult draw. The guy made it to the finals and nearly took out Alcaraz.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Horrible officiating in the French Open. That's a shame.
I thought they have all you really do is
they don't use the electronic thing. They don't use
Hawkeye.
They don't use a Hawkeye.
The Hawkeye is like the greatest fucking thing. Like,
great. It ended all of those ridiculous disputes. The players felt a lot more justified, even though there's like a marginal, like less than 1% error factor. It's more than acceptable for the number of times that it's right, and some very difficult and somewhat undiscernible fractions of an inch that are being determined on those calls. But it's a little easier to call stuff on the clay because it makes a big mark. And still, it's always difficult to tell whether that thing hit the line or not. So why not use it? I mean, it doesn't make any sense to leave this to human error when there were two outrageous bad calls at critical times in the semifinals with Coco Gauff, where a call was made before the ball actually hit the ground and threw her off, and she was perfectly entitled to a replay of that particular point, and instead they just left it. And then Zverev got robbed on what would have been a break point and a turning point. I think this was in the third set. I mean, just a blatant robbery. And people start theorizing that the game's not on the level, much like this Celtic game with Dallas was not on the level at the end there, because I think Jason Kidd was getting every bit of 7 and a hook. That was so funny to watch because they never let that happen, right? No, it wasn't like they were down 14 or something. I mean, it's still 3 shots away from possibly being back in it, even if they hit a couple of the free throws. 3 threes get you back in the game. So that really was a curiosity point. All right, we're going to come back with more in a moment. Still some stuff to discuss here on the program. Jeff DeForest along with one Mike Lubie. Thanks for tuning in. Always a pleasure. Appreciate the input on the chat line. Good to see Andy's doing all right. He's like back in the gym, this kid. It's amazing.
He looks good. He looks really good. So I hope that's a great sign of what's going on with him because he looks really good.
Looks great, yeah. I mean, and back in the gym, lifting weights, tremendous. And this he's doing at Century Village in Boca Raton. Do they even have weights over 50 pounds there?
They have a nice. I like the facilities there. It's just older people. I get it.
I don't know. My dad wasn't inclined to go to the gym there when he was at Century Village, but he did use the pool a lot. All right, and I love the golf courses. I don't know if they have one at Boca, but they had one at the Pembroke Pines.
Yeah, they have one.
Golf course there, like the par 5s are 287 yards. It's great. You can play the course with a fucking putter. All right, back with more in a moment on that.
The time.
Try the challenging links at Century Village. It's 8:51.
Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, astrophysicist extraordinaire, with us here on 940 Wins, 1230 The Zone, and around the world on the iHeartRadio app. Now, you do a lot of podcasting, and you're very diverse in the things that you cover, including one with basketball star Kyrie Irving. We picture Kyrie Irving lighting incense and chanting Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. What was it like? I mean, the conversation with Kyrie Irving, especially in matters of astronomy.
Here's the thing with Kyrie Irving. So as you may know, and of course, if you knew that much about him, you would know that for a while there, he was a big fan of the flat earth. And so my response to that is, by the way, we care about Kyrie Irving because he's good at basketball. So people say, oh, you should not talk about a flat earth. And I'm saying, I don't care if Kyrie Irving wants a flat earth. He's a basketball player. There's plenty of jobs you can have in this world while you think Earth is flat. just don't let the head of NASA be among them, right? Just you live in a free country. You should be able to say what you want. And so I wasn't as distracted as other people were. I don't get my science from Kyrie Irving, and I'm not going to get basketball lessons from the head of NASA, period. So that's how I look at it.
From South Florida to the entire world, thank you to the iHeartRadio app. Here is Defo joined by Lubie on The Defo Show.
Where's our buddy Jim Sarney stand on this thing? I'm just reading online here. I happen to click on one of the posts on Facebook by a guy named George Diaz. You remember George Diaz? He used to write locally here, and then he went to Orlando. Was a big-time Orlando columnist for many, many years for the paper there. He's on the side of, hey, this was the right move. Leave her off there. There are better players. She's not ready. She'll have her time. But there are better players more deserving, and she shouldn't have just been automatically placed on the team because she's Caitlin Clark, and the team needs to be the best team that it can be. And
because it seems going to struggle because they take her over some other fucking person no one's heard of.
And our good buddy, whose opinion, and he's a diehard advocate for women's sports. I mean, as much so, maybe not quite as insane as Jim Sarney is about it, but our buddy Joe Casale, very, well-grounded thinker when it comes to sports and all of this. He says absolutely correct on the George Diaz post that Caitlin Clark was more than justified. Stupidest fucking move I've ever seen.
Oh, crotchety.
I'm sorry.
It's like the people that bitch about Fernando. Again, Fernando Tatis celebrates. Oh, get him out of the game. Yeah, the one guy that people watch, get him out of the game. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, I understand.
It'd be like leaving Fernando Valenzuela off the All-Star team in the midst of Fernando Mania.
Like, come on.
Saying, well, he's only a rookie. I mean, what the fuck?
It was, look, Dontrell at times was not the best pitcher, but he was.
That 1 year he was, that's for sure.
He was a good pitcher, but he had a groundswell of attention. Of course, you're going to put him as a starter, even though he didn't probably earn starting nod. Like, sometimes you just do things.
All-star teams have always been inundated, especially baseball, with guys that were hitting. Cal Ripken's hitting 247 with a handful of home runs, but he beats out, some guy that's batting 360.
Look, you're not going to – I'm not saying she deserves it over fucking Brianna Stewart or Aja Wilson or
why not just add somebody to the team at that point? Are you not allowed to have more than a certain number of players on the roster?
I'm sure there's a roster.
She couldn't be like an alternate. I mean, don't you want her there in France?
Look,
to sell the game
this way. If she didn't exist, we wouldn't be talking about this.
Yeah.
Good or bad.
I wouldn't care who they left off the team. Exactly.
All the publicity you can get is what you need when you're and I don't care what people tell you. It's a fucking fledgling sport. You need every god.
And you have this groundswell of momentum that is unbelievable. I mean, literally, here we are. We just spent 15 minutes talking about this shit.
Yes. I think
in the past, if somebody had called about it, we would have summarily dismissed them politely and said, thanks for your call. And then gone right back into talking about the Dolphins draft. That's the way it worked around here for a long, long time. All right, a couple of other things. And we mentioned, Carlos Alcaraz wins the French Open. That was great. Iga triumphs. She was in there against this Justine Paolini, an Italian girl who scored a couple of big upsets and made it to the final, but got blown out in the final. She lost like the last 10 games. Once this Iga woke up, my God, it was like 2-1 Paolini, and then I don't think she won another game. The entire rest of the final. So that was kind of, it was weird too, because NBC's televising this thing and they were on for like 38 minutes. That was it. And you kept hearing that music over and over again as they, let's go back to 1978 and here's Martina. It's like, get the fuck out of here with this. Belmont Stakes, that was great. Turned out a horse nobody mentioned. Nobody mentioned this horse ever anywhere.
Never. I'm trying to think.
The six ball.
Even in like the other races, I don't remember ever hearing the name. Was it Door? I don't even know how to pronounce it.
Dornock, something like that. Yeah. As in a knock on your door.
I don't remember anyone talking about this.
No one mentioned it.
Caden talked about like 40 horses Friday.
Never mentioned it. If you had given me 9 of the 10 horses and said you can only, you're going to have to leave one out, Deef, I would have left out the 6. Knowing nothing about this horse, I could have made you a minor case for just about everybody else. And there was a case to be made. So what happens? I give my call, the usual, let's get together to Piscataway Ray. We've partnered up on some very nice triumphs on Triple Crown situations, including the maximum security takedown, which was one of the all-time great maneuvers ever by the stewards in the history of the sport, or any sport for that matter. And so we profited handsomely on that. Probably will be ahead lifetime as a result of that, as a partnership. I mean, I don't mean to imply for a second that I'm winning money at the track, but I do pretty well in these Triple Crown adventures when I partner up with this guy. And so we decided that the money was probably going to be in like pick fives, that the trifecta probably wasn't going to be all that enormous, except what I don't know is that Ray loves the six. This was, he would have singled a six if we only were, in a position to use one horse in the Derby. So, of course, our ticket had the six on it. And I watched this gagging sea of chalk come in the 4 previous races, all of which we had. So we're alive to 3 horses in the Belmont, one of which is the six. I end up leaving the place. I have the ticket in my pocket, Lubie, and we end up at the Fish Shack.
Nice.
The Mustang was in tow and might have had a couple of drinks. It was a good idea to go, get something to eat. We end up at the Fish Shack, and on the TV, and this is a relatively small place, even though they have expanded from the original, which was like 3 tables.
Yeah, it's still small.
Always packed. But, you've been to the new location, right?
It's still small.
There by Sicilian Oven and the Publix and Lighthouse Point. So anyway, they have like a women's college track and field meet on this TV that's at the bar where we were eating, because the place was packed as usual, and there were a couple of seats at the bar, so we decided to sit there. And and I'm thinking, okay, good. If I'm here long enough, the Belmont was going off in about 20 minutes. So I asked a few times, and these people were so busy. I don't like to be an asshole about it because their priority there. This isn't a sports bar or something you walked into. Is not to worry about the TV so much. It wouldn't matter what was on, although they had sports on a couple of screens, and they had more than one screen in the place. So they never change it. So I don't see the race.
No.
And I finally I get a text about 10 minutes later, and it says Dornock with 5 exclamation points. And I realized, and it was from Ray, and I realized we must have fucking won. So I'm thinking with this sequence, it's going to be maybe $1,000 for the ticket if we're lucky, which still isn't bad. I'm thinking, geez, I'll drive right back there and pick up the 500. I need it desperately. And I get a call from Andy, and he had hit the exacta with the 6 and the 10. And I said, I had a pick 5 winning ticket. And he tells me that it's going to pay $4,000.
Oh shit! It was $4,000 total. Oh god, I thought it was $2,000 total. Oh my god.
Well, I ended up with $2,000 out of the deal.
Nice.
But,
That's great.
But that was easily like 3 or 4 times, maybe more, what the actual payoff for that kind of sequence of odds should have been in any kind of parlay.
Yeah.
I mean, literally in the first 4 races, the highest price was $8. A 3-to-1 shot, which is fairly easy to come up with, and then you get this 17-to-1 bomb. Who nobody must have used this horse in the Belmont Stakes for that thing to come back $4,000 for 50 cents, Libby. Now the odd thing is, we originally were going to put the ticket in for $1, but it was going to use up all of our $200 bankroll that we had that we were going to spend on the day in the pool money prospecting, and so we knocked it down to 50 cents. Otherwise, we were picking up 8 dimes there, and so that's one thing you're thinking. But I'm always happy to cash, and we also had other opportunities and other things going, especially with that 6 ball that unfortunately we didn't connect on because we didn't use the number 10 horse, which was that newcomer that had the 2 races, ended up second. And probably should have won the race. If that horse wasn't so green, he probably blows right by the 6 and we get nothing. So no better feeling, though. I was talking about it earlier this morning on our Caffeine TV morning briefing. That's there's nothing like driving to the track knowing you're picking up like a giant score. and so I get there and, I try to cash the ticket, early on. Nothing was really going on there. There aren't that many people there on a Sunday, especially at that time. And so I get online. There are like 3 people ahead of me. And I figure, look, I may as well just get this out of the way now. So there's a guy behind me. And finally, when I gave the young lady the ticket, who I've known for years and years, she's been around the racetracks as a parimutuel clerk for a long, long time. She has to, go and get some more capital. She didn't have this much money in the drawer. So now the guy behind me is just like bitching and screaming, oh my God. And I'm thinking, this schmuck is probably going to bet like, a $1 exacta one way on a dog race. and he's screaming and crying. So I don't know. What would you have done, Lubie? Would you have waved the 40 sticks right in front of his face and just said, I hope I didn't stop you from coming up with something like, no, yeah, I mean, you don't want to be a jerk. Plus, you don't really want people to know that you're running around the track there with a fistful of cash. Would you be inclined to let anybody know that you had this score? Or
yeah, I don't want anyone to know.
would your feeling be that somebody was going to knock you out at the valet parking?
Yeah, I don't want anyone to know. I hate
Yeah, me either.
showing cash. I try and hide the crap out of it.
Yeah, but this guy's screaming and yelling behind me, and then I just turned around finally and said, "Hey, Jack, what do you want me to fucking do? I mean, they're going to go get the money and they're going to pay me, and if you can't get your bet in, I don't know what to tell you. What was I supposed to do? Wait here all day until you were finished betting? Learn how to use the self betting machines. You'd be better off." Then he starts screaming, "They should get another teller here, another teller." Wouldn't calm down. I think I ruined his day, but certainly set up for a great day for us. All right, so yeah, that was terrific. As this horse Dornock, who nobody mentioned, the guy in the New York Post had him on top too. Vic Cangelosi. I got to give him credit because he rarely picks a winner, and so he came up with that one. And he's usually, most of these house handicappers are almost always just ensconced so heavily in chalk that you pay no attention to it, because almost anybody could read the odds board and see who the favorite is. So that was great. And then Danny Hurley, what happens there, Lubie? What do you think? You're saying he
I think
takes the Laker job by noon today?
I think if you had to think about it, then he's taking the Lakers. There's nothing to think about with the UConn. They've offered him as much as they're going to offer him. He's happy there. His family's happy there. He has his family in the Northeast. If he was going to stay, he would have stayed already.
LA's a nice place to live on $15 million a year.
Yes.
I mean, you could kind of get used to that, though, couldn't you? It's not insufferable in terms of expense when you're making that kind of money, and you happen to be the head coach of the Lakers. See, I don't think he does himself any disservice by taking a Laker job. He makes a ton of capital. If it works out for him, then good. And if it doesn't, he does it for a couple of years. I mean, nobody's going to consider him a failure, because many people have not measured up in that spot. And I don't know that the Lakers have the goods to surpass these teams that they would have to overcome if they were going to be. Are they really going to be championship material next year? The Los Angeles Lakers, based on what we saw in the West so far, although the West not exactly being well represented right now by the Dallas Mavericks, who mowed down everybody that we thought was an upstart and ready to take over the reins. Just not happening so far in the Celtics series. But if you're Danny Hurley, you're leaving, right? But
I probably would. Look, to me, we've talked about this before. What's the difference between 10 and 50? Money is money. I would rather take happiness and contentment. I think in Connecticut, he'd be there for as long as he wants. He just won back-to-back titles.
Yeah.
He's just trying to recruit well.
He would have to decide that was what he wanted, which he kind of did when he turned down the Kentucky job.
Yes, well, that's what I'm saying. He already turned down a big job for more money because it was going to be a lot more stress. Like UConn, he's won 2 titles. They're a big program, but they also have the small program feel. He could be there as long as he wanted. To me, the Laker job is a death trap. Like, they're going to pay him a lot of money, and he'll get that money no matter winning or losing. But what he's going into is a disaster. Like, the LeBron thing is hanging over there. It may hang over for 2 years.
But maybe his ambitions are kind of along the Brad Stevens lines.
I get it. He probably wants to go. But to me, Brad Stevens started with a fucking young-ass team and was able to. And then Kyrie, the one guy that would have been a pain in the ass, was hurt the entire time he was with Brad Stevens. So he got to mold the team in the way he wanted. That's where I could see Dan Hurley going pro. But to go to the Lakers when you have an old AD who's always hurt, when you have LeBron who's getting to the age where he's going to start being hurt, the best they are is 5th in the West, and they may be 6th in the West if you throw in some of the Kings and some of these other teams. Like, to me, it's a ridiculous situation. Yeah, you're gonna make $5 million more a year for now, and then you'll be out of a job in three years. Whereas UConn, you could be there for 20 fucking years. Like, but it's not up to me. Clearly, if you want to say UConn, to me, he would have. The fact that he's wavering, it screams that he's going to go to the Lakers.
I can't help but think that, and we were talking about this earlier today on another show, that the way to persuade him to stay at UConn, if you're the University of Connecticut alumni base there, and the people that are trying to persuade him that this is the way to go, to just stay there, just show him winning time, and show him the portrayal of Pat Riley in the series Winning Time, where they made Pat Riley look like Bobcat Goldthwait through half the movie, as if he was asking Johnny Depp, hey, can I try some of that blow? They made him look like a fool. That would be the thing. They could take a look at Danny Hurley and just say, hey, Danny, right now you're super well respected. would you really want to be remembered by the general public as this? And maybe that would be something you would take into consideration. I don't know. All right, we have to get out of here, Lubie. The Mike Mayo Lunchbox show today will be a best of, I believe.
Yes, we're gonna
Okay.
have our Pizza Craft edition. We had
Oh, that was good. Yeah.
last week, so we're gonna have that. And tomorrow we'll be at home. Wednesday we go back to J&C Oyster.
Oh, beautiful.
12 o'clock edition. They're doing their official grand opening, a ribbon cutting over there in Hollywood. So
Now, is that going to be at the usual time or later in
4
the
o'clock.
day?
We're doing that
4
at
o'clock.
4 o'clock.
Okay.
4
All
o'clock Wednesday at J&C Oyster.
Very good.
And that show, so it's a very up and down week for Mike Mayo's Lunchbox.
I have to check that out. At J&C Oyster. Everybody is saying it's absolutely phenomenal. So, yeah, I had end of a great weekend. I hope this week stacks up as well as the weekend, all the way around. It was just a genuine good time. I had that private party there with the Chris O'Leary band. If you ever get a chance to see them, they're great. And I have to say, I mean, these guys set up a sound system. It was better than the one at Woodstock. It was fantastic. And applause to the Fort Lauderdale lifestyle, where no neighbor complaints, no cops show up. I mean, if you were in the neighborhood, you're thinking, where the hell is this music coming from? Because it was way above anything you would normally expect from some backyard band sitting there playing Inagata Davida. It was just absolutely first class. So our thanks to Michelle, our good friend, for putting that together. And I'm glad we're on the list now. That's good. All right, so Minnie, you wouldn't buy the tickets. Should I put in a request to Minnie, see if we can buy the tickets? You want to go scalp them with me just to have something to talk about on a future show?
You can ask. And
the disgusting looks we would be getting from people for being assholes. Would they know that we were being assholes?
Yes, 100%.
They would? I mean, are we that recognizable in the community now where people would say, it's at the Forest, that must be Lubie. And we're out there hawking tickets. And we don't even give them to the first person. We only go to the highest bidder. We hold out. Would it be possible that we would get stuck with them, Lubie, at face value?
I'm not highest bidder. I don't try. My greatest fear is to have game time and still have the ticket. So I don't know about the first person, but yes, I would. Whoever gives a decent offer is who I would give it to, because I don't want to get stuck with tickets. But yeah, I you can say something to Minnie. I'm not going to say anything to him. I wish him luck.
He would know right away what we were up to.
He's not giving you the tickets.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's no way.
Right,
there's got to be some hot chick in pursuit of Minervini that he's more than willing to accommodate. All right, that'll do it for today. A lot of fun being with you. So we will see you tomorrow morning.
Come on, Cats, tonight. Let's go. Prove me wrong. 2-0. Let's go.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Now, you're taking in these games at home because of your early rising time?
Yeah, I watch them at home and in fear. And
you know where I was thinking I wanted to go tonight? I might go visit Frank Tallarico at the Bamboo Beach Tiki Bar.
Oh, it's probably a great place to watch.
That'd be a great place to watch a hockey game on the beach. Yep. Same place we saw Jacques Martin walking barefoot before he left the Panthers, and now here they are on the threshold, on the precipice, on the brink, on the just edge of winning the Stanley Cup. Should be great. I hope they should bring the Stanley Cup to the Bamboo Beach Tiki Bar. Wouldn't that be an appropriate place for it? Yeah, it'd be great. Somehow Frankie will arrange that. Maybe I'll get Dino Cicerelli to put it together for us. All right, we have to get out of here. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. From Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. Always a pleasure talking and being with you people, and we'll do it again tomorrow. As we leave, you know that.
The time?
It's 9:12.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my